Attention! 89% of American men over 60 are making this deadly mistake with their morning routine right now. You could be next. If you're over 60 and this already has your attention, hit that like button right now so I know you're here with me. If you're losing your morning wood, your body is warning you that blood flow is slowing, testosterone is fading, and deeper health problems are coming. Don't ignore this signal. Wait, stop everything. Before I continue, let me ask you something directly. How many of you watching this haven't had a strong morning erection in months or even years? Don't be embarrassed. Drop a yes in the comments below. You're not alone, and this conversation could save your life. Stay until the end because I'll reveal the 4 natural powders that can restore your strength in just 30 days. And if you're new to this channel, I'm Dr. Senior Man. Hit subscribe right now because this channel is becoming the go-to resource for men's health after 60, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Let me hit you with a hard truth, gentlemen. If you are over 60 and you can no longer count on waking up with strong morning wood, that is not just aging. That is your body warning you that blood flow is slowing, testosterone is fading, and the spark of vitality that defines you as a man is slipping away. If this truth is hitting you hard right now, show me by hitting that like button. I need to know this message is reaching the men who need it most. I am Dr. Senior Man, a men's health specialist and urologist with over 3 decades of experience helping men rebuild confidence, energy, and intimacy. I have spent my career studying what really works for men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Not quick pharmaceutical tricks that mask symptoms, but natural, lasting solutions that restore both strength and dignity from the inside out. Here's what most doctors will never tell you. The arteries that carry blood to your penis are much smaller and more sensitive than the arteries leading to your heart. That means circulation problems often show up in your erections, years before they ever appear on an EKG or stress test. Here's what shocked me most in 30 years of practice. Research has proven that erectile problems can precede heart disease by several years. So, when you stop waking up with morning wood, it isn't just about your sex life. It's about your life, period. Pause this video for just a second and think honestly. When was your last consistently strong morning erection? If it's been months or years, comment below with just the number of months. This data helps me understand how widespread this really is. But here's the surprising part that will shock you. The return of firm, reliable morning wood doesn't always come from a pill. In fact, one of the simplest keys is found in natural powders taken at the right time that quietly work while you sleep, restoring circulation, rebalancing hormones, and reawakening the kind of erections that remind you you're still fully alive as a man. We're building a brotherhood of men who refuse to accept decline as inevitable. If that's you, if you're ready to fight back, subscribe to this channel and join thousands of men who are already transforming their mornings. Tonight, I am going to reveal the 4 specific powders that science and tradition both point to. Remedies that can improve circulation, reduce inflammation, calm stress, and reignite desire. Before I reveal the first powder, I want you to guess which one I'll mention. Comment your guess below. Is it ginseng, horny goatweed, something else? Let's see how many of you can predict this. When I sit with men in my office, especially those over 60, one of the first questions I often ask is, do you still wake up with morning erections? For many, there's a moment of hesitation, sometimes even embarrassment, before they shake their head, no. If you've ever felt that embarrassment, that shame about your changing body, hit the like button. You're among friends here, and there's no judgment, only solutions. Morning wood is not simply a reminder of youth or intimacy. It is your body's daily health report. Each morning, without you even asking, your body tells you whether your blood vessels, yet hormones and nerves are still working in harmony. It is like the check engine light in your car. If that light goes off every day, you can drive with confidence. But when it stops appearing, when the signal goes silent, it is your body's way of whispering that something underneath is breaking down. Let me tell you something that will surprise you about the men in their 70s who still wake up strong. I've seen men in their late 60s and even 70s walk into my office frustrated, convinced that their vitality is gone forever. They tell me, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore. I wake up tired. I don't have that drive." And then, after a few months of making the right changes, I watch the light come back into their eyes. They start telling me about mornings where they wake up feeling strong again, sometimes even joking about their wives noticing. That spark is priceless. It restores not only physical function, but also confidence, dignity, and joy. If you want to be one of those success stories, if you're tired of accepting decline, subscribe to this channel right now and commit to following through on what I'm about to teach you. Even now, in your 60s or 70s, the machinery is still there. The arteries can still open, the hormones can still be restored, and the nerves can still respond. The signal isn't broken, it's only weakened, and the beauty is, with the right approach, you can reignite that signal. Over the years, I've noticed something fascinating in the lives of my patients. Men come to me asking how to feel younger, how to restore their energy, and of course, how to wake up with that powerful signal of morning wood again. And often they're looking for complicated solutions, new medications, expensive treatments, or even surgical procedures. But when I sit them down and explain that sometimes the answer lies in what you do right before you go to sleep, I can see the surprise in their eyes. They never imagined that the simple act of taking the right nutrients before bed could transform the way they wake up in the morning. How many of you are thinking right now, it can't be that simple? If that's you, comment "too simple" below. I want to know how many men are skeptical about natural solutions. Here's why this matters so much. Your body isn't idle while you sleep. In fact, it's during the night that the deepest repair and rebuilding take place. Testosterone production peaks in the early hours of sleep. Blood vessels regenerate and restore their elasticity. Nerves that have been strained by stress throughout the day finally get the chance to calm and recover. Sleep is not just rest. It's your body's workshop, where everything is repaired and fine-tuned for the next day. And if you provide the right fuel before stepping into that workshop, the results can be remarkable. I remember one of my patients, a man in his late 60s, who told me he hadn't had consistent morning erections in years. He was skeptical when I suggested a nightly ritual with specific natural powders. But he agreed to try. Within weeks, his mornings changed. He described it to me like this: "Doc, it's as if my body remembered something it had forgotten. I wake up feeling alive again. That's the power of timing. It's not always about how much you take, but when you give it to your body." Powders are especially effective because they are concentrated and easy to absorb. Unlike heavy meals that sit in your stomach and weigh you down, powders dissolve quickly, delivering nutrients directly where they're needed. Mixed into warm water or milk, they create a calming ritual that signals to your body it's time to relax, restore, and rebuild. The first powder I want to share with you is one that sounds almost too simple. It begins with a humble vegetable that many of us overlooked on the dinner table, a root with a deep red color and a power hidden beneath the soil. I am talking about beets, and more specifically, beetroot powder. Before I explain how this works, comment below if you've ever tried beetroot for any health reason. I'm curious how many of you have already discovered its power. Over the years, I have witnessed how this single powder can make a profound difference in a man's life, especially after 60, when circulation begins to slow and energy starts to fade. Here's why beetroot powder is such a powerful ally. Beets are loaded with nitrates, and when you consume them, your body converts those nitrates into nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide may not sound exciting, but it is the very signal that tells your arteries to relax and open wide. Without it, the pathways remain tight and narrow, and blood struggles to reach where it needs to go. With it, blood surges freely, filling your tissues with life and energy. And in the case of erections, that means blood flowing directly into the sponge-like chambers of the penis, expanding them fully and firmly. Here's what most men don't realize about nitric oxide. This is not theory, it is physiology at its purest. I've seen this play out countless times. A man in his 70s once told me he thought his days of waking up hard were over. He felt embarrassed, even ashamed, as though he had lost a piece of his identity. When I recommended beetroot powder as part of his nightly ritual, he laughed. "Doc, you think a beet is going to fix this?" he asked, but he trusted me enough to try. A month later, he walked into my office with a smile that I will never forget. He said, "It feels like my body finally remembered what it's supposed to do. That is the gift of nitric oxide. It awakens what age tries to put to sleep. And beetroot powder doesn't just work below the belt. The same nitric oxide that fuels erections also strengthens the heart. It lowers blood pressure, improves stamina, and keeps arteries supple instead of stiff. This is critical because the very first sign of cardiovascular decline often shows up in the bedroom. When erections weaken, it can mean that the arteries in your heart are struggling too. By nourishing your body with beetroot, you're not just reclaiming your mornings, you're protecting your life. The way to use beetroot powder is simple, but powerful. 1 teaspoon stirred into a glass of warm water about half an hour before bed is enough. The warmth relaxes you, and the powder begins its quiet work. As you sleep, nitric oxide signals your arteries to open, circulation improves, and your body prepares for the firmness of the morning. Many men notice changes within weeks: stronger morning wood, improved energy throughout the day, and even sharper focus. Which powder sounds most interesting to you so far? Comment beetroot if this one caught your attention, or keep watching to see the other 3 before you decide. Now, as powerful as beetroot powder is for circulation and performance, it is only one piece of the puzzle. Because even with perfect blood flow, if stress hormones are running high and testosterone is being blocked, your results will never reach their full potential. That's why the second powder I want to share with you is so important. It calms the stress that strangles desire and restores the hormonal balance your body desperately needs. When men reach their 60s, one of the hidden enemies that quietly chips away at their strength is stress. I've seen it countless times in my practice. Men who once carried themselves with confidence now weighed down by sleepless nights, nagging worries, and a constant tension that never seems to let go. They often come to me saying their desire is gone, their energy is fading, and their erections are inconsistent. And while they think the problem is only physical, what's really happening is that stress is stealing their manhood from the inside out. If stress has been stealing your sleep and your strength, show me by hitting that like button. Stress is a silent killer of male vitality, and it's time we talked about it openly. This is where ashwagandha, a humble but powerful root, often called Indian ginseng, becomes one of the most valuable allies a man can have. Ashwagandha is known as an adaptogen, which means it helps your body adapt to stress and restore balance wherever it is most needed. Modern science has confirmed what traditional healers in India knew for centuries. This herb lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that, when elevated, sabotages nearly every function of male vitality. High cortisol tightens your blood vessels, keeping them from opening wide. It keeps your nervous system locked in fight or flight mode, making it impossible to truly relax. And perhaps most damaging, it directly blocks testosterone production. When testosterone falls, desire fades, erections weaken, and the zest for life begins to dim. I recall a patient of mine who had spent his career in a high-pressure job. Even in retirement, his mind never slowed down. He told me he would lie awake at night, replaying the stresses of the day, unable to sleep deeply, and over time, he noticed his mornings were lifeless. No energy, no firmness, no spark. I suggested ashwagandha, not as a quick cure, but as a gentle nightly ritual. A month later, he returned and said something that struck me deeply. "Doc, I finally feel calm enough to rest. And in the mornings, I feel like a man again." Comment ashwagandha below if stress is your biggest enemy right now. Let's see how many men are fighting this same battle. That is the beauty of ashwagandha. It quiets the noise inside so your body can rebuild what matters most. When cortisol drops, testosterone rises naturally. Your body finds its balance again. Desire returns, energy steadies, and morning wood begins to reappear with a strength you thought was gone. And let's not forget the role of sleep. Most testosterone is produced during the deepest stages of sleep, yet stress robs men of that restorative cycle. Ashwagandha gently soothes the nervous system, helping you drift into real rest. In that rest, your hormones are renewed, your tissues repair, and your vitality is restored. The way to use ashwagandha powder is simple. Mix half a teaspoon into warm milk or water before bed. Its taste is earthy, even a little bitter, but many men add honey or cinnamon to soften the flavor. What matters is not the taste, but the transformation that follows. Within weeks, men often notice less anxiety, a steadier mood, stronger erections in the morning, and a renewed sense of desire. It does not push or force your body. It gently guides it back to balance, letting your manhood feel natural again. While ashwagandha helps restore the calm and balance your body needs, there is another root, grown high in the Andes, that works on a different level entirely. This one doesn't just balance hormones, it awakens desire itself, fuels stamina, and brings back the intensity of pleasure many men thought they had lost forever. There is a place high in the Peruvian Andes where men have relied on a simple root for centuries to keep their strength, stamina, and virility alive well into old age. That root is maca, often called Peruvian ginseng, and when ground into a fine powder, it becomes one of the most remarkable natural allies for men over 60. Thousands of men have already started using these natural protocols to transform their mornings. If you want to join them, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. What makes maca unique is that it does not directly raise testosterone the way some herbs do. Instead, it works in harmony with your body, nourishing the entire system of energy, circulation, and endurance. For men who feel their spark has dimmed, maca has a way of gently fanning the flame back to life. I remember speaking with a man in his late 60s who came to me saying that, while he could still perform, something deeper was missing. His desire had weakened, and intimacy felt more like a duty than a joy. He told me, "Doc, I want to want again." That statement struck me because so many men over 60 feel the same way, but rarely speak it aloud. When I introduced him to maca powder, I explained that it often acts on the brain's arousal centers, waking up signals of interest and excitement that have grown quiet with age. A few weeks later, he called me with a chuckle in his voice and said, "It feels like my body remembered how to be excited again." That is the gift of maca. It stirs the mind as much as the body. If you want to want again, comment desire below. There's no shame in admitting that the spark has dimmed, only courage in wanting to reignite it. But maca does more than awaken desire. It also fuels stamina and endurance. Men who use it consistently often notice they can stay firm longer, that they don't tire as quickly, and that they have the energy to enjoy intimacy without feeling drained afterward. Some even describe it as a return to the vitality of their 40s, where strength and recovery were natural, not forced. And then there is another benefit that many men do not expect. Maca can restore the intensity of climax. Patients have told me that orgasms feel sharper, stronger, more like what they experienced in their 20s. That level of satisfaction is not just physical. It restores confidence and joy, reminding you that passion does not have an expiration date. Maca also carries another quiet but important advantage for men over 60. It supports prostate health. As men age, the prostate often enlarges, pressing on the bladder and urethra. And this not only affects urination, but also interferes with erections. By nourishing pelvic tissues and improving circulation, maca helps counteract these changes, keeping the entire system stronger and more responsive. It's not just about performance. It's about protecting the foundation of male health. The way to use maca root powder is simple and pleasant. Its flavor is slightly sweet and nutty, far from medicinal, which makes it easy to incorporate into your nightly routine. Stir 1 teaspoon into a smoothie, blend it with almond milk or cocoa for a rich evening drink, or even sprinkle it over yogurt. Taken before bed, maca works quietly through the night, fueling your body with nutrients and supporting blood flow. The effects build over time, growing stronger with consistency. While maca reignites desire and stamina, there is still another silent enemy we must confront: inflammation. It creeps into the arteries, stiffens the vessels, irritates the prostate, and drains energy from the body. To fight that enemy, we turn to a golden spice paired with a simple companion, a combination that has been celebrated for centuries for its healing power. There is another challenge many men over 60 face, and it often goes unnoticed because it doesn't always shout loudly the way heart problems or low testosterone do. This hidden challenge is inflammation. I've seen men come to me with stiffness in their joints, fatigue they can't explain, and erections that simply don't respond the way they used to. On the surface, it seems unrelated, but underneath, chronic inflammation is quietly interfering with circulation, irritating the prostate, and draining the body of the energy that fuels manhood. It is like a slow fire burning in the background, and unless you put that fire out, no amount of blood flow or hormones will be enough. That's where turmeric, the golden spice, steps in, and when combined with black pepper, its power becomes extraordinary. Turmeric has been used for centuries in traditional medicine, not just for flavor, but for healing. Its active compound, curcumin, is one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory agents we know of. But here's the problem. On its own, curcumin is poorly absorbed by the body. You could take spoonfuls of turmeric and still only get a fraction of its benefits. The key is black pepper. Inside black pepper is a compound called piperine, which increases the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. Without pepper, turmeric is like a treasure chest locked tight. With pepper, the chest opens wide, and your body can access everything inside. I remember a patient of mine, a retired firefighter, who told me he felt like his body was slowing down in every way. His knees ached, his energy was flat, and his mornings were lifeless. He thought this was just aging. But after I suggested a nightly golden drink made with turmeric and a pinch of black pepper stirred into warm milk, things began to change. Weeks later, he came back and said, "Doc, I feel lighter. My body doesn't fight me anymore. And in the mornings, I feel that spark again." His story is one of many. When inflammation is calmed, the body can finally do what it was designed to do: circulate blood freely, respond with energy, and restore sexual health. Which of these 4 powders resonates most with your situation? Comment below. Beetroot for circulation, ashwagandha for stress, maca for desire, or turmeric for inflammation. I read every comment. Think about it this way. Erections depend on soft, flexible arteries that can expand and fill quickly with blood. But inflammation stiffens those arteries, making them resistant and unresponsive. It also irritates the prostate, creating pressure and interference in the pelvic region. Over time, this leads to weaker erections, more urinary problems, and less vitality overall. By adding turmeric with black pepper to your nightly routine, you're not just soothing your joints, you're clearing the pathways for blood to flow and protecting the very foundation of your manhood. The ritual itself can be incredibly soothing. Imagine stirring half a teaspoon of turmeric with a small pinch of black pepper into warm milk or even warm water, then sipping it slowly before bed. The warmth calms your body. The golden color feels almost sacred, and the compounds inside begin working as you drift into sleep. While you rest, inflammation is reduced, irritation in the prostate quiets down, and blood vessels stay more open and flexible. By morning, many men notice they feel less stiff, more energized, and yes, firmer. What I love most about this ritual is not just the science, but the symbolism. Each night, as you drink it, you're telling your body, "I am choosing healing. I am choosing renewal. I am choosing to fight back against decline." It's a simple act with powerful meaning, and it reminds you that age may bring challenges, but it does not have to steal your strength. By now, you've seen how each of these powders, beetroot, ashwagandha, maca, and turmeric with black pepper, offers its own unique path back to strength, energy, and confidence. But one of the most common questions I hear from men is, "Doc, how do I actually use them? Do I need to take them all at once? Do I rotate them? How long until I see results?" These are important questions because the truth is, the way you use these powders matters almost as much as the powders themselves. The first principle is simplicity. You don't need to overwhelm your body or your routine by taking everything at once. In fact, I encourage my patients to start with just one powder. Choose the one that speaks most to your needs. If circulation is your main concern, begin with beetroot. If stress and sleep are robbing your nights, start with ashwagandha. If desire and stamina feel absent, try maca. And if inflammation is weighing you down, turmeric with black pepper may be your best ally. Give your body a chance to respond to one change before adding more. Too many men make the mistake of expecting instant results, but this is not about forcing an effect. It's about building a foundation. The second principle is patience. I've seen men give up too soon, disappointed when they don't feel a miracle overnight. But your body didn't lose its vitality in a single day, and it won't rebuild it in one either. These powders are gentle, natural, and designed to work with your body's rhythms. Give them at least a few weeks of consistent use before judging their impact. Many of my patients are surprised when, after 2 or 3 weeks, they notice subtle changes, more energy in the morning, less stiffness in their body, or the welcome return of morning wood. Those early signals are your body telling you it's responding. The third principle is consistency. Think of this as brushing your teeth. You don't brush once and expect your smile to last forever. You do it every day because small daily actions create lasting health. It's the same here. Make your powder drink part of your nightly ritual. Skip the late-night alcohol, avoid heavy snacks that weigh you down, and instead prepare a simple glass of warm water or milk with your chosen powder. Over time, this becomes more than a habit. It becomes a statement that you are investing in your future every single night. And finally, the fourth principle is listening to your body. As weeks pass, notice how you feel. Do you wake with more energy? Are your erections firmer and more reliable? Do you feel calmer, more focused, or more alive? Your body is always speaking to you. If one powder seems to make the biggest difference, stay with it. If you feel ready, rotate or combine them. There is no rigid rulebook. This is about finding what works best for you and honoring that. I often tell my patients that these powders are not quick fixes. They are allies. They walk beside you, quietly strengthening your body night after night, building you back up from the inside. The reward is not just in stronger mornings, but in the return of dignity, confidence, and vitality. It's about looking in the mirror and recognizing the man staring back at you, the man who has not given up, the man who is still capable of strength, passion, and pride. Gentlemen, morning wood is more than a sign of intimacy. It is proof of life, health, and vitality. We've talked about why it matters, why timing before bed is critical, and how beetroot, ashwagandha, maca, and turmeric with black pepper can each play a role in restoring what age has taken. I've seen men in their 60s and 70s reclaim strength, confidence, and joy simply by honoring this nightly ritual. Your transformation starts tonight. Here's what I need you to do right now. First, hit that like button if this video has given you hope. Second, subscribe and ring the bell because I'm releasing more men's health protocols every week. Third, comment below with which powder you're starting with tonight. And fourth, share this video with any man over 60 who needs to see this message. We look out for each other in this community. Do not accept decline as inevitable. Your body is still capable of responding, of healing, of returning to strength. It may take patience. It will require consistency. But the man you were is still inside you, waiting to be awakened. These 4 powders are not magic. They are science. They are tradition. They are hope in a glass. Start tonight. Choose one powder that speaks to your greatest need. Mix it with warm water or milk. Sip it slowly with intention, knowing that you are taking the first step back to the man you want to be. Your mornings don't have to be empty. Your vitality doesn't have to fade. Your strength doesn't have to surrender to time. With patience, consistency, and belief, you can wake each morning with the firmness of youth and the pride of knowing you are still fully alive. The choice is yours. The power is in your hands. And the strength you seek is just one glass away. Remember, subscribe for more protocols, like if this helped you, and comment which powder you're trying first. I'll see you in the next video, gentlemen.